Hello, welcome to, let's see if we can get me in the right place. Welcome to It's Morning Somewhere with Abbie Unger. I am feeling encouraged this week. If you saw last week's video, you probably could tell that I don't love this angle. Every week we start with a little conversation about how I don't love the angles. Maybe I should do a little better with my preparation. But I'm feeling a little bit more encouraged about everything as far as aviation industry goes, which we will talk about. But if you are still feeling the weight, I really encourage you to watch last week's video, which was the 13th of May 2020, because I talk about grief and how really everything that's going on in aviation, there's a lot of opportunities for people to be dealing with grief. And sometimes that's not what we name our feelings. It's sadness, disappointment, anger, frustration, maybe even, but a lot of times it really is grief for a loss of a dream or a deferment of a dream. So that was last week's video. This week's show is going to be a little bit more encouraging because we have some encouraging things to talk about. I'm so excited. But first of all, I wanted to, let me get this photo. Where's my photo? First of all, I wanted to, I don't have the photo I want. I wanted to wish a very happy birthday to someone that I have a lot of respect for. Someone that, let me pop her picture up here. This is Haley Woods. So some of y'all may know she is the founder of Girls Love Travel, which is an amazing Facebook group that has over 1 million members. And if you are not a member of this Facebook group, you have to, it's for people who identify as female. So if that is you, please go and join her group or request to join. It is an amazing group. One thing that I love about it, it is very international. So our Facebook group, Flight Attendant Career Connection, has people from around the world in it, but we talk a lot about the U.S. But in Girls Love Travel, she does an amazing job of just making sure that every country is represented, everyone is heard, every background culture is just represented, and has conversations that are just so educational. Another thing that I love about Haley is I consider her a friend, but I also really consider her a mentor. I think she's one of the most amazing leaders of our time. I think that if you are looking to do anything that requires leadership in your life, that you will, I think you should watch Haley Woods and see what she does. She manages over 1 million people on the internet with grace and consistency and strength and compassion. And I feel like she always knows what to say, and she always makes such sound decisions. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for Haley Woods. And today is her birthday. And as you can imagine, as someone who is a traveler like she is, she's actually full-time location independent, but she's been kind of stuck in her mom's house for a while, like we've all been stuck in place. And in fact, if you are a member of Girls Love Travel or you're getting ready to join, she's doing 24 hours of celebration where a different member from a different part of the world, not the country, the world, shares something. We've done yoga. There's been singing. I saw someone dancing the hula last night before I went to bed, which before I went to bed here in Hawaii was pretty late everywhere else, across the U.S. So that was pretty cool. So happy birthday, Haley. I love you. You have meant a lot to me, your leadership, even from afar, and I'm really glad that we're friends. So happy birthday. Now let's go ahead and talk about, I'm going to check my comments. Okay, no comments. Good. So I have an announcement to make. So this is pretty exciting. This is just going to be a brief announcement, but I wanted to go ahead and ask you if you're interested in this, to save the date. So Flight Attendant Career Connection is going to start traveling, which Why do we want to become flight attendants? Because we love people and we love to travel, and we haven't been able to be around people and we haven't been able to travel. And I'm just really excited to move into a new, offer a new way for us to connect as a community. So Flight Attendant Career Connection is going on a cruise. It's going to be October 8th. It's going to be out of Orlando area. Port Canaveral is actually the cruise port, but most people will fly into Orlando. You could also fly into Melbourne, though. So I don't have a ton of details right now, but I want you to sort of pencil it in or keep your eyes open if this sounds like something that would be interesting to you. So we're working with my husband's travel agency, which is called Get It Booked Travel, to work with Carnival, that's who we're going to be cruising on, to get the best deal for us as a group. So best deal, best amenities. It's really cool when you start to book as a group, you start to get things like free champagne in your room and things like that. So don't book. Wait, so you can book as the group so you can get all the fun things as well as be included in all of the events that we're doing on board. I'm just really, really excited about this. This will also be October 9th is actually my birthday. So it's also going to be sort of like a birthday celebration as well. So I think that it's time. We've been together for 7 years, and I think it's time that we go on a little vacation together. So this is going to be open to anybody who is, it's not going to be only flight attendants, only aspiring flight attendants. It's not a conference. I'm hoping it'll feel more like a retreat so that we can kind of get revived, but it's going to be really, really fun. So pencil that in. Reach out to me if you have questions or anything like that, but please stay tuned if that's something that sounds like it would be exciting to you. I'm so excited. I can't believe we're actually going to get to do it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive into today's industry updates. Industry updates. I have super good news, and you might have seen it on, I think that I had this one too as a picture. I might not have, I guess I didn't save it. I don't know where it is, but I wasn't as prepared. Oh, there it is. Look, I've got it. It's right here. Cool. So here is something that's really, really, really exciting. Let me get it up here so I can share it with you. I know you have to wait a second, but it's going to be worth it because it's really, really cool. It's really exciting. All right, y'all, look at this. So this is yesterday. This is from Instagram. Someone took a screenshot of this and shared it in the group. But your fave flight attendant, she's someone I follow on Instagram, so I am familiar with her. But she posted, happy first day back in training to the Piedmont Airlines flight attendant class. I know it's a crazy time. I know you have to start over, but it'll be worth it. Y'all, that is so exciting. So, Piedmont is, well, you may not know, but Piedmont is a regional airline. They are a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines. I've been telling y'all since we started this little dip in aviation. I've been telling you throughout this pandemic that the regionals will probably be the ones that start to hire first. Yes, it will be years before United, Delta, Southwest, American hire. It's going to be years probably, but regionals, there will be flight attendant positions. There will be opportunity before those airlines. And so Piedmont, it sounds like they had a class that maybe they had to send home when the pandemic started to affect that area, but they are now back in training, which is amazing. That means they still had spots for them. They still had positions for them. So exciting. Another really, really encouraging and exciting thing is Mesa is still accepting applications, still sending out video interviews. So, I don't know when they're going to do face-to-faces. I don't know if they're going to do face-to-faces. In the past, there have been opportunities where Mesa Airlines has done group video Zoom interviews and then offered jobs based on that. So they sort of already have that framework in place if they want to do it that way. I don't know when they're going to start training or anything like that, but they are still accepting applications and sending out video interviews, which is awesome. Another really, really, really exciting thing. I'm really excited about this one. Omni Air International, I believe that's their official name. Omni Air is hiring as well. So they're accepting applications right now for a invitation only group interview in Dallas in June. Okay, so here's what you need to know about them. First of all, there's some of y'all going, Omni, I've never heard of Omni. Okay, so I understand. I'm actually going to do a full video about Omni because we need to know who they are right now if they're accepting applications. So check the description below for the link to that. But briefly, Omni is a charter airline. So they are hired by groups to operate flights for them. They are not scheduled service where you would just go buy a ticket on them. So their primary customer is the DoD, Department of Defense. So what they mostly do is move troops around. So you tend to go in places where troops would need to go. Germany, the Middle East, they do a lot to Africa, but other places that the troops would need to move. Something that is cool about them is they are international. They do a ton of international flying. They have big planes. They are not a small regional charter where you charter and you put like 10 people on it. They have big planes, 767s, big planes. And their trips are long, meaning you can expect to be gone for 19 days or so, or more. Around that is like the minimum. So 19 days, up to maybe 45 days even, depending on how troop movement is needed or what your assignment looks like. So that is something that makes them a little bit different than some of the other airlines, is you will be gone for those longer periods of time. So if that fits your lifestyle right now and your goal is to fly international and you can be gone for 20 days at a time, go and apply with Omni, because this will meet most of your goals, which is really, really, really exciting, which is really cool. Now, the it's invitation only interview in Dallas in June. They have not announced a date yet. I wouldn't worry about that. I would go ahead and put in my application if this is an airline you would like to work for, and let's see where it goes. And then as far as they will not provide travel to the interview. So you will need to get to Dallas on your own. Okay. So that's just another little question that's probably pretty common. If you check out their website, the application, it talks about how much they pay, guaranteed hours, things like that. So most of your questions will be answered on their page, or check out the video that I'm going to make if you'd rather just listen to me tell you it all instead of reading it. So that's just really, really encouraging. I'm not excited about these without also holding space for my friends who are current employees at some of these carriers that are saying, please prepare for furloughs. Please get your affairs in order. Please consider taking leave. Please consider taking voluntary furlough. Please consider this or that. I don't say that, my husband works for a major airline as well, and we will on June 1st get the packages offers of what the company is going to be offering for voluntary separations from his airline. I don't imagine we will be taking anything like that since we have a young family, but I'm aware of the fact that that is what's going on, and I'm definitely holding space for our friends who are there. But I also think that it's fair to be encouraged as other things uptick, so we want to be fair and compassionate towards those that are still nervous, as well as being excited for new opportunities. One thing that came out this week in the news is Southwest, one other airline, and I can't remember, Southwest and another airline, several airlines, including Southwest. That's how you say it if you're really on the news. Several airlines, including Southwest, they announced that they had more bookings there were days where they had more bookings than cancellations, which is really, really encouraging, because there were months, weeks where they had more people canceling tickets. They were refunding more tickets than they were selling. Y'all, if you were refunding more things than you were selling, that's not even operational cost loss. That's just actual negative revenue. That's scary. That's different than some of the things that we've encountered in the past. But we're kind of tipping up over that, where we are getting some more bookings into summer, more bookings into the fall, maybe even first quarter next year. Things are on sale. If you need to buy a ticket somewhere, if you've been thinking about visiting someplace and you need to buy a ticket, now is an awesome time to go ahead and buy an airline ticket. Now, we're not traveling tomorrow, but you could go ahead and buy a ticket and get an amazing price on that. So that is really, really encouraging. American Airlines also was in the news saying, we are not expecting to file for bankruptcy. Yeah, we have the most debt, but we have the most debt because we have refurbished and updated our fleet sooner than our sisters over here, Delta and United. So right now, Delta and United are kind of not dumping planes, so retiring planes, retiring the 777, retiring that MD-80, retiring planes. And American kind of already did that. And so they have a younger with less maintenance, more fuel efficient. There's just a lot of things that make them, they're spending less money to operate. So they were saying, we are not expecting to have, we're not expecting to file for bankruptcy, which is really encouraging as well. Now, we're still probably going to see furloughs in some cases. More and more airlines are starting to put out their separation packages. We were having a conversation in study hall this week about the separation packages, and I feel like separation packages really are just to kind of like sweeten the deal for someone who was maybe on the fence or already thought that they would probably take a separation. A separation package usually includes some flight benefits for some time. Sometimes we've seen airline miles. You cash in for tickets, positive space tickets, lump sums of money, things like that. So they're never really life-changing in the sense that like, oh, I'm just going to take my separation and go live on an island now with my lump sum payout. They're really just to sort of like bridge the gap while you move into another career. So if you've been thinking about, moving into another career, going back to teaching, starting a family. I have a friend who took a buyout in 2009 because she was ready to homeschool her child. So that was kind of what she was hoping to do anyways. And so the buyout came at the right time. So there's a lot of different reasons why people take buyouts. One thing that I love about aviation is that they're really good about saying, this is what we're offering. Raise your hand if you'd like it. There's no such, they don't say like, this is the best, so all the senior people get it. This is the worst, so all the junior people get it. And we see this a lot when we bid for lines. So the airline doesn't say, weekends off are what everybody wants. So if you're senior, you have to work during the week and you have to take weekends off. And I don't care if that's not what you personally wanted. We think that's best or a better line, so you have to take the better line. Or, Tuesdays off are worst. So if you're a junior, you have to take a Tuesday off. No, they put everything out there. And if you're a senior person and you love Tuesdays off, you get to get Tuesdays off. You get to raise your hand and say, I don't really want that weekend offline. I'd rather have Tuesdays off. And so the same thing kind of happens with voluntary separations. They don't say like, here's the package, and if you're in the bottom 10%, you have to take it. They say, hey, before we make the bottom 10% separate, why don't we see if anybody's kind of ready or wants to volunteer, raise their hand, take their little extra cercies and kind of go on their way. And so that's kind of where we are right now. We're kind of in the place where people are able to raise their hand if they kind of would like to take a separation. Every airline separation package is different. Sometimes it's dictated by their contract. Sometimes it's not. But that's sort of where we are right now. If you're seeing things like buyouts, that's what that is. Okay. Buyouts or separation package, voluntary separation packages. So let me check my comments over here. So that's so exciting. Candace is exciting. Okay, good. So now we're all just excited. We are excited. It's so encouraging. New training classes. And we've added another. Mesa's been accepting applications all along, but now we've added Omni too. So really, really exciting. We're going to switch gears a little bit here because I'm adding a new segment to our It's Morning Somewhere show. And this is going to be sort of a product spotlight. So I couldn't come up with anything more clever or more clever than product spotlight. So if you have an idea of what we could call this segment, where I basically talk about products that I think make travel life or flight attendant life better, easier, let me know so we can name this something kind of cute and cool. But today we're going to talk about the Hot Logic Mini. If y'all have been around flight attendant career connection for a while, this is what it looks like with the food in it, then you know that I am a big fan of Hot Logic Mini. So in full disclosure, I'm an affiliate for them. So if you click on a link that I share, or if you use our coupon code, I get a small percentage of paid to me in commission, but it doesn't raise the cost for you. In fact, the coupon code is a coupon code, so it lowers the price for you. But that's just kind of full disclosure. I never would recommend anything that I don't love. This is a Hot Logic Mini. All right. It's still got the tag on it. First of all, I want to show you how flat it is, because in all the pictures, it's always popped up like this because it's gusseted so that you can put a dish in it. But this is how it fits in your bag. So you can slide it down in like the laptop sleeve. It's about the size of an iPad. So it's super small. What is this? I forgot to say what it actually is. It's a travel oven. So it's like a safe travel oven. It's an alternative to a microwave. It has a cord. The cord's back here, plugs into the wall. You can also get a car adapter thing for like the cigarette lighter, but I don't have one of those because I fly. I don't use it on the plane either, but I use it in hotel rooms. I've used it in the airport before. So this is how it works. You unzip it, you plug it in, you unzip it. Oh, there's this, I was just greeted by this girl. Look how happy she is. Yum. And then this right here heats up. Okay, it heats up. It gets warm. It gets hot. It heats up. It's a little plate. And so you zip your food up in here, your container of food. So what's your container of food? It could be like a Lean Cuisine frozen meal. It could be leftovers that you put in a plastic container. It could be a can of soup. It could be leftovers from the Ruby Tuesdays last night. It could be, I have also used this. I actually use this a lot in hotels to keep my coffee hot. So I actually will turn it on and unzip it and just set my coffee cup on it like a warmer, and it keeps coffee hot too. So I use this for all different things. I used it a ton when I was still nursing and pumping and traveling with milk to heat it up because you can't microwave breast milk. This thing just does amazing things. I love this. It will cook. That's a question we get a lot. Will it cook? So yeah. So like if you were at home and you threw a chicken breast in here, you could cook it. It would take like 7 or 8 hours. But I don't really recommend traveling with raw chicken breast and then cooking it in your hotel room, just because that traveling part sounds a little bit like sketch to me. But, rice in here, like those pre-made rice packets are amazing in here to get them heated up. You can also do ramen noodles. The question we get a lot is, why don't you just use a microwave? Sometimes there's not a microwave in your room. Not a lot of times, depends on what your union contract says. If you're working as a flight attendant or where you're staying, you may not have a microwave in your room. Also, food that's heated in an oven just tastes better than food that's heated in a microwave. So if you have the time, it takes, 45 minutes to an hour for it to heat up in this little oven. If you have time to plug it in and maybe go take a shower, get your bag unpacked, and then you can come back and you have a nice warm meal. I remember when I was flying, that was something that was very special to me, is warm food, especially in your hotel room, because you sometimes don't have access to heating things up really well. And so warm food is something that is sort of special, which I know is kind of funny, but it can be something a little bit special when you're not eating just cheese and crackers, or you're not eating a bagged salad. You're actually getting to eat something warm. Can be kind of special. So they're on sale right now. Also, coupon code is FLIGHT, FLIGHT. That will save you 20%. It doesn't always work with the sales, but I had someone tell me that it was working with the sale right now. So these are on sale right now. Hot Logic Mini. You go to hotlogic.com or hotlogicmini.com. or Google it up, Hot Logic Mini. But I do recommend buying it from the distributor so you can use the coupon code and get all the sales. They sell them on Amazon too, but I like buying straight from the company. They are an American-based company in Michigan too, which is kind of cool. I don't think this is made in America, but they are a US-based company. Hot Logic Mini, I love it. Okay, so now let's move on to community question. So this community question is, what's a furlough? We have been talking a ton about buyouts, furloughs, contracts, union in study hall. If you have not had a chance to join us in study hall yet, that's the wrong slide. I really, really recommend it. That doesn't have the most recent dates. I really recommend it. Okay, so I was trying to put a different thing up, but I couldn't. So we're having study hall today at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern time. which is 5 Pacific and 2 o'clock here in Hawaii. But study hall is we all are in a Zoom group meeting. We're all in a Zoom room, and we work on preparing for our next flight attendant interview, even though we don't really know when that is. We work on preparing for the next step in our career, even though we don't know when we're going to get a next step. We work for about 25 minutes and then we talk. So if you have questions about STAR format, if you have questions about, I don't know if this story works, if you have questions about how do I answer this type of question, this is what I was thinking, can I tell it to you? And then I give you feedback. And this is all free. Study hall is free for everyone who has ever purchased a Flight Attendant Career Connection interview workbook. So right now that's on sale in the preparation package for $27. And then you can come to study hall. We have study hall on Wednesdays. We have it on Sundays. We have it every single Friday. So you'll get, when you go to the website page, you'll see the complete schedule there. But we have gotten to have some really, really cool conversations, some really kind of in-depth conversations. Sometimes it almost feels like off the record. That would be Abbie's opinion, off the record kind of things, because it is a smaller group. It's not out there on the interwebs and things like that. So I would, if you haven't joined us yet and you have bought a workbook at some point, please pop by. You can come in, come out, however your schedule works. You can be on video or you can keep your video off. You can talk or just listen. It's really, really easy breezy, but we have had some amazing, really, really good conversations. I think we've all learned a lot. I've learned a lot. I think everyone's learned a lot during study hall. So please come to study hall. Our community question is, what is a furlough? What is a furlough? What is a furlough? What is a furlough and how can you be furloughed if you have a union? That was the question that I was asked this week that I thought would be good to talk about. So furlough in aviation is basically the word that we use for layoff. So being laid off from your job, which means the company says, we don't have any work for you to do right now, so we need to remove you from our payroll. We won't be paying you anymore. When work comes back, we will call you. So you don't lose your job completely. It's not like being fired, but you are laid off. How can I be furloughed if I'm part of a union? Well, if your airline is in a union, in the contract, there are outlines and guidelines as to how furloughs work. I was talking to my friend last week who works for American, and he said they have like 15 steps the company has to go through before they can get to furloughs. So I don't know what all those steps are, but I imagine they're certain cost-cutting things, certain voluntary separation offers, certain leave offers, all sorts of different things before they can get to furlough. But there is always the option or the opportunity that you could get furloughed even if you have a contract. The difference kind of between having a contract and being union represented and not is, just like I said, if you have a contract, there's steps the company has to go through before you get furloughed. There's different things they have to do before they're able to furlough you or begin furloughing employees. They also have a very specific way that they are required to furlough. I was actually just reading the Southwest contract a few weeks ago for ground ops just to see. I wanted to see I don't think that my husband will be furloughed. That's not even anything we're really worried about. But I said, let's pull the contract out and just read about it. Southwest has never furloughed an employee, but let's just read what's in their contract and see what it says, how the furlough would work. So we actually read that, and it talks about how they decide who gets furloughed, what happens if you get furloughed here, and then you can displace someone over here in this space, and then that person, and then you have this, and then they'll call you. They have this amount of time to call you if a space opens up over here, and then you have this amount of time to let them know if you want to go over there. Like, it's very laid out in the contract. It is very specific. The difference is if you're not union represented and you don't have a contract, you don't have all those guidelines completely laid out. So I am not expecting any non-unionized airlines to be unethical in any way. I am believing that every airline is going to treat their employees fairly, especially their flight attendant group that works so hard on the front lines. I expect everyone to be fair. But if you are not represented by a union and working under a contract, the airline could do whatever they want. So we could wake up tomorrow and they have laid off. An airline that doesn't have a union could technically lay off like the top half of their work group or everybody who's based in Atlanta or something. Like they could because they're not bound to this contract. Now, I don't think that they're going to do anything unethical. And I do think they're going to treat every airline without a union is going to treat their employees fair. That's what I'm believing for. But that isn't necessarily always the case. So just like I said, we read my husband's union contract, and we are very aware of what will happen if his airline begins to furlough. We know what it will look like. We know what the recalls will look like. That is comforting to me. that brings me comfort to know. So that's one thing that's very valuable about having a contract is in these kinds of moments, you can find comfort in the fact that you have a contract that shows you how it's going to go down. None of us want to be furloughed. Nobody wants any furloughs. And no matter how it happens, it's going to be heartbreaking if it happens. But I do think that there is some comfort in knowing how it's going to go down and how it's going to play out. So that's why you can get furloughed if you're part of a union. Being in a union or having your airline be union represented does not protect you from furloughing, but it does protect the process of you being furloughed. And it protects the way that the airline can decide who gets furloughed, when they get furloughed, how long they get furloughed, and then also how they get recalled. So like I said, I find that to be very, very comforting, that we can see in black and white kind of how it would happen or what it would happen. Because, you never really know how it's all going to go down. So we're still waiting to see what happens. Of course, in October, it does look like United is still encouraging people to get their affairs in order for a reduction in force, which is kind of fancy talk for we're probably going to need to furlough people. So just be aware. And then there's also a chance that American and Delta will furlough, but we will just have to kind of see. The things that will decide how much or when are going to be how many people take buyouts, how many people take leaves, and how many people buy airplane tickets. So we still have a long amount of time for those pieces to fall into place before October. And so that's kind of where we are now. I hope that answered that question, especially if you've been curious about furloughs and how they work and I thought a union was going to protect me from that, because it won't. I mean, they protect you during the process though, which is valuable. All right, guys, that is all that I have for today. So yeah, so we talked about a ton of stuff, really much more exciting today. I can't wait for next week to see. I know things change every single day in the industry, especially right now. So next week is going to be amazing. If you have questions about the cruise, or if you're like, yes, sign me up, please let me know so that I can make sure that you don't miss any of the updates. Because in October, as long as they let the cruise lines go cruising by October, we're going to be living it up. I will talk to you next week. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Good morning. It's morning somewhere. Talk to you later. Bye.